We have one of the largest quadruple A, the only actual legitimate quadruple A title to ever launch in the history of gaming, just had a fairly significant setback, if you want to believe the rumors. Plus, we have a new Netflix series is adapting a childhood favorite that's just not going to go well, and some updates on Spider-Man 4 as far as rumors go. So let's get into all of that and more.
It's classified.
Hello nerds, and welcome to the Rumor Mill. You have found the appropriate cheat code to get to the news before it becomes news. Here we will discuss rumors in the pop culture and nerdy realm of things, then we will discuss the probability that those rumors are legitimate, and then finally probably a little bit of my own personal speculation. If you want the more concrete news that has already become news, then there is a full news show over on the main channel called The Week in Nerddom, which you can find linked down in the description, as well as at the end of this video. Now, let's see what all of those rumor mongers have to say, and which of them are just plain full of poop. Abbreviated. That's short. We're not doing speculations again this week, but we do have some new rumors. No confirmations, refutations, no new sources for old rumors. These are all new rumors, and we're just gonna go through them. First up, Netflix owns the rights to the Power Rangers to some degree, it would seem. We've talked about this previously, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know. This seems like there's more behind the scenes than they're letting on. So what they're doing is they're going to, according to this rumor, they're going to be rebooting the Power Rangers franchise. Only it's going to be, as you could have guessed, very woke, because Netflix still hasn't gotten the memo that it would seem that everyone else is starting to read. Because it's going to be all of the main characters, save for I think one, is going to be some form of LGBTQ or female or all of the above, which in and of itself is not bad, considering though that this does have source material. This does have a whole legion of fans that love it for reasons that aren't included in these DEI checkboxes. It just seems like it's tone deaf. You read the room, understand the people who like the franchise, and do things that fit inside the franchise, and you'll have success. Otherwise, I don't know. So the only possible saving grace to this, assuming this rumor is to be believed, is that it is going to be considered an Elseworlds story. It's going to be considered to be from a different universe for the Power Rangers than all of the material preceding it, because everything preceding it ties in to each other. It's been a long time since I watched Power Rangers, so I can't necessarily say exactly how they tie into each other, but that is how it works. Like each new franchise of the Power Rangers, each new iteration of the Power Rangers kind of builds on previous iterations of the Power Rangers. So this one's not going to do that. It's going to be something else entirely, according to the rumor. This comes from very good sources. This also plays into all of the expectations as far as what Netflix does with franchises, especially something like this. So this is the likelihood that we are going to be seeing a woke Rangers. 70% likely. I honestly could have gone higher with that, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen. From there, we have some gaming stuff, which is interesting because this one's a lot more rocky than most of our gaming rumors have been in the past. This gaming rumor has to do with the next generation Xbox. So according to certain reports, very notable leakers, very notable people who work inside the industry, apparently Microsoft has been actively working on a handheld prototype for some time, to the point where a few prototypes are actively out in the wild with developers right now. It's said that it's going to be part of their strategy for the next generation of consoles. Though what it doesn't say is if it's going to be the focus of the next generation of consoles, or if potentially Microsoft is going to be doing what Nintendo did in the 90s and focusing on two different sides of the console genre, console release, I guess. Those being the home console, which would be whatever is the actual successor to the series consoles, which is expected to be announced sometime either by the end of this year or going into summer of next year. Or if so, home consoles, and then handheld consoles being a separate console endeavor entirely. So you have two different dev teams developing a handheld and a home. The home console is effectively just a computer at this point, and so the handheld console would be the biggest challenge. It would be presumably the most fun, right? So I don't know, there have been some leaks recently. There was the picture of a new dev kit for Microsoft that was in, I can't remember who the developer was that had the new dev kit, but that has been leaked out. And then also it has been said, Phil Spencer has said that he wants to get other gaming, PC gaming platforms onto the Xbox home console, which definitely spells a whole bunch of different things for the future of Xbox home consoles. So I don't know, that's a whole different conversation probably for another video. But I honestly think that this is not going to be the next generation Xbox. So likelihood that that is the way they're going, I'm going to say probably about 60%. It just doesn't seem likely, though. Again, we do have some very good information suggesting that there are such things in the wild. It just seems more likely that they're going to develop a home console that stays in a spot, and then a handheld console that somehow interacts with the home console that is a thing unto itself. So again, 60% likely that that is the only direction they go with the next generation. And then our big headline for the week is Grand Theft Auto 6. We have some concerning information about Grand Theft Auto 6. Again, this is very potentially going to be the biggest video game release in the history of video games. So I'm sure, Rockstar, not Rocksteady. So I'm sure the people at Rockstar are not taking this lightly, which could be a good thing. But the information says that there has been some sort of significant delay in the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. So significant, in fact, that they very well could miss the holiday 2025 release window, which was the previous rumor, and it could bump it into 2026. So we could be approximately 2 years away yet from the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. This one very freaking likely, because it is there's a lot riding on this release. So 80% likely that we're going to be seeing Grand Theft Auto 6 very close to, if not in 2026. All right, from there I would really love to thank our channel partner here at Generally Nerdy, and that is DUBBY. DUBBY has been so kind as to join up in a partnership with us and give us a way to earn a little bit of money here on the channel, and with a proper tasty product and something that I actually enjoy consuming myself. So even if I wasn't sponsored by them to a certain degree, like, I would still be actively consuming this. This is the Push and Punch variation. Our next one that we're going to try here on the channel is the Cali O Cream. It's the orange creamsicle one. DUBBY is a bit cheaper than the competition, so there's that. The only way to beat their prices is if you shop at the dollar store to get very, very lucky. DUBBY has more than just caffeine blend in their mix. There are some nootropics in here that help your brain focus. Definitely when I'm at work and I need to buckle down, the caffeine helps, sure, but the nootropics help me focus and get the food at my restaurant out fast without any mistakes. And legitimately, I really dig the DUBBY stuff. So that is our sponsor spot for the day. Thank you very much, DUBBY, and now let's get back to the show. Movie rumor about Jurassic World. This one has Scarlett Johansson being rumored to be in negotiations with the people making Jurassic World. Is it WB or maybe? I can't remember. But she's rumored to be the lead for a new set of movies that is going to be a unto itself set of movies. It's not going to have anything to do with the previous movies. So maybe not Jurassic World. They might go somewhere else with the naming scheme. But either way, Scarlett Johansson rumored to be the lead for this. I'm going to put this one at 50%. Not a great source. Also, just still super early when you're talking about negotiations. Like, all of that happens behind closed doors, so you can't really say one way or the other. So we're gonna split the difference and say 50% that we'll see Scarlett Johansson in a dinosaur movie that has anything to do with the Jurassic Park franchise. Next up is a TV rumor that has me a little bit hype. Malcolm in the Middle is apparently getting some sort of renewal, revival, catch-up episode. That part very much remains to be seen, but Frankie Muniz says that it's this close to happening. Frankie Muniz also says that it's been this close to happening for about 5 years at this point. So whether or not it actually happens very much remains to be seen. But I mean, if Frankie Muniz is actively out there discussing this at this point, I would say that puts it a little bit more on the likely side. So we're going to say 75% likely we'll be seeing some sort of renewal, some sort of, I don't know, rehash for Malcolm in the Middle. Next up is Spider-Man 4 rumors. Spider-Man 4, we have a couple of rumors here, and I'm going to say they all tie in together, so we're just going to do one likelihood percentage. But we have, first of them is John Watts, who directed the first 3 movies, is not going to be returning into the director's seat. Instead, he's going to be replaced likely by either Drew Goddard or Jeff Lynne, as far as directors go. They are set to begin filming September or October of this year. And Zendaya is back as MJ, because of course she is, why wouldn't she be? Which would explain all of the situation going on with Euphoria Season 3 and why it may or may not happen, and if it does happen, it's just been pushed way back on that back burner. So yeah, all of these things jibe with so many, like, we have a bunch of sources all confirming each other. We have a bunch of kind of surrounding situations that would fall in line with this as well. There is very little to me that says this is not the case right now. So we're going to say 90% likely that all of these things together are true. And then we have our final piece of rumor, which also is movies and superheroes, but just the other side of superheroes. DC, the Batman 2, we have the Batman is going to introduce D.A. Dent. So it's going to be pre-Two-Face, Harvey Dent. Presumably, like we've talked about previously, we're going to see him become Two-Face in this universe. And then it's going to have Clayface as the primary villain, but he's the primary villain and he's antagonizing Batman to the point where we get another kind of rehash of what we got in the first movie, where Batman has to seek the counsel of the Joker. That's the newest part of this rumor. All the rest of this could be considered new sources for old rumors, but that's the new bit, that we have a confirmation as far as this rumor goes that Joker's going to be in this movie. Like I said, we've talked about those other elements before. The fact that Clayface is going to be the primary antagonist, the fact that Harvey Dent is going to be in this to some degree. Yeah, we've already given the likelihoods of those. It's fairly high. The Joker bit seems the most likely, though, because that gives you just enough of that little the familiarity from the first movie. Like, this happened before, so this is an established thing that happens in these movies, which then, once we do finally get a Joker-centric movie in this universe, makes that relationship work so much better, which makes the Joker so much more of an effective villain. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but I think 90% likely that we're going to be seeing Batman seek the counsel of the Joker in the next movie. Yeah, super stoked to see what happens there, but that's what we've got for rumors this week, nerds. That brings us to the end of the video, nerds. Thank you very much for joining me for the news. Once again, there is a full and probably much more up-to-date and recent episode of the news, the full-length version, if you will, called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, linked down in the description, and probably link popping up somewhere around my face right about now. So click on that, go check that out as well, or if you prefer your news in more truncated pieces, then by all means just stick around here and go check out some of the other stuff we offer on this channel. Thank you very much for joining me. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember, nerds, that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.